What product was so poorly designed that you suspect the team that made it never used the product? My kitchen trash can. It is one sold by Glad specifically for their bigger, extra strong 13-gallon trash bags. It is not particularly cheap. It looks good, but the design of it is what you might expect if you told aliens what a trash can is and they designed one without ever seeing it. How it holds the bag basically causes you to lose 4 gallons of capacity and have to risk tearing the bag or spilling its contents every time you go to remove it. It also has a trash bag holder that is so narrow, you have to feed it trash bags one at a time, completely defeating the point. And if you try to compact the trash a bit, you're almost guaranteed to tear the tear-resistant bag. Such a poor design. Software drivers for basically any HP printer made in the last 3 decades. Holy crap, yes. I work in IT and I hate how bloated those stupid drivers are. No, I don't want HP device experience, or whatever the hell that is, and I don't want to have to download a 300 megabytes bloated pile of steaming crap when all I need is for Joe Q, employee, to send documents through to the printer on his desk. God, I miss the days of those LaserJet 2500s with their universal PCL drivers. So simple. And those were like the Volvo 240 of printers. Freaking tanks. Those sliding shower doors with an overlapping section that is impossible to clean without taking the whole door off. The mold pit. Why are you bringing up your mom? She's also poorly designed. The Bluetooth app connectivity for my washing machine didn't really want that feature, but it was a last-minute substitution. If the wash cycle takes longer than the initial estimate, the start time changes rather than the time remaining estimate. I just don't bother with the app. My washing machine has been at 8 minutes for the past half hour. I just bought a waterproof cargo bag for the roof of my car that was fairly expensive. The Velcro that keeps the zipper protected was just glued on, not stitched. The very first time I opened the bag, all the Velcro came off because the attraction to itself was stronger than the adhesive bond to the vinyl bag. It's like there was absolutely zero product testing, but I'm sure it was 5 cents cheaper to make it glued rather than stitched. How could something like this have ever been allowed to leave the factory? In order to be waterproof, it probably needs the glue. That being said, it should probably be both glued and stitched. The answer should have been to stitch and then seam seal the stitching. My new iron has a restart if you tip it over after it's timed out. So if you accidentally leave it plugged and it gets knocked over by accident, pet or child bumps the board, wind knocks something over, knocking the iron over, it starts while face down. That literally defeats the entire purpose of the timeout safety feature. The perforated corner of a Kraft mac and cheese box. Fuck yes. For decades. Once there was an AMA of a guy who opened the perforated mac and cheese box perfectly. My refrigerator has a water filter that cannot be changed without turning off the supply, which is behind the refrigerator. So you have to pull the multi-100-pound fridge, with all the food and such, out to turn the water off before you can change the water filter. The old Maytag it replaced had no such requirement. That is mindlessly bad and makes no sense. Way too many carrying products, luggage, boxes, bags, laundry baskets, have put more emphasis on comfort/softness, the top of the handle, rather than the underside. Which is the side that is forced into your hand with the weight of whatever is in your box/bag/basket. I'm convinced that the only grocery store that tested the hand baskets you use in store is Target. They put the handle in the comfortable orientation and curved the side. Everyone else just said, "Screw you, here's a basket." I'll add a comment as someone said something that made me think. Streaming services, search engines? You can literally have 10K to 50K things to watch, but there is absolutely no way to do an in-depth search. Doesn't have to be through a mobile app, maybe an online connection through a website. But if I want to find a show that was running in the late 90s and I know it was science fiction, why can't I do that? So much content I might want to watch but can't find it. Similarly, Spotify's search absolutely sucks ass. I can type in the exact title of a podcast episode and still have to search through 20 completely unrelated results before I find what I'm looking for, if I find it at all. Complete nightmare. Baby wipes. Hey, you know when a good time to struggle with opening a package that says it has perforations but really doesn't? You want one? Here's a chunk of 20. You want a bunch? Here's a tiny ripped corner. You have 10 left on a trip and need to conserve? Too bad, motherfucker, here's the rest of the pack. Get your tired ass to CVS. Costco brand wipes for the win. I may get one or two together if I'm grabbing weird, but they don't rip. Some road intersections make me wonder if the engineers have actually ever driven a vehicle. Sometimes they were based off of old horse and cattle paths. My mom's had 3 wheelchairs. They all suck. The brake lever mechanism invariably interferes with the footrests. On her current one, the brake lever mechanism is curved, so it's pretty good. I think it could still be better. I'm surprised they're not better. I definitely feel like given my experience I could design a much better wheelchair than anything on the market under $1,000. My mom's wheelchair is the fucking bane of my existence. It's so poorly made/designed. Unfortunately, insurance only covers a new one every 5 years and it's only been 4. Hers also has the brakes right by the foot rests, and they're near impossible to get to if you're pushing the chair from the back. She can't push herself or do the brakes on her own. So you have to let go of the chair and run in front of it to put the brakes on, which is great if you're on a hill or in an icy area. The damn Outlook search function. I'll search my boss name, whom I email multiple times a day for the past 7+ years, and it was say, no results, or hey race an email from 2018, which is obviously what you're looking for, nothing more recent. Women's underwear. The part that is supposed to get dirty is never far enough forward to catch what it's supposed to catch. Women's anything. OBGYN equipment, medical dosing, seatbelt design. Seatbelts. I risk decapitation every time I drive because my seatbelt sits against my neck. I had to get a special clip for my car and even that barely work. The website for the library in our city. Definitely made or customized by consultants that don't use our city's library. Likely that is exactly true. They probably hired someone to get the job done remotely. Or they had to put it out for competitive bids and they got what they paid for. Most garden hoses, wouldn't you think that the first design requirement would be that it work without kinking? Garden hose is one of those things where it's worth it to spend a little extra. The cheap ones always kink, but a nice rubber one never does. Remember that juicer meant to be used to squeeze out those bags? It was like $400, plus the cost of the bags, but you could just squeeze them out by hand. The Juicero, and a classic case of Silicon Valley arrogance marketing. It was literally a machine that squeezed juice from a bag, but people believed they were getting fresh juice from a bag. After the illusion was shattered and VC dried up, the ex-CEO said something along the lines that their core customers loved the experience of feeling like they were getting fresh juice or something like that. My clothes dryer. It has touch controls that are designed in such a way that you pretty much have to guess what you're supposed to touch. Nothing visibly looks like a button. And when turned on has an inexplicable 10+ SEC delay before the touch controls work, so you basically poke it all over the place without even knowing if it's the right place to poke or if you simply need to wait for nothing to happen. I mean, that's what I think, at least, but can't be sure since there seriously is no visual indication of anything. There's also a numerical display which I assumed was related to the time left until it's done, but I've been using it for almost 2 years now and I still have no clue what those numbers are meant to indicate. They certainly don't correlate with any time units I'm aware of. Any sites with lots of text and ads in between. Scroll down, start reading, then the ad loads and your article shifts down a few inches. Go to click a link, but suddenly the ad loads and you click that. One of the biggest reasons I switched from iPhone to Android was so that I could use ad blockers on Firefox.